David inside. He goes into a coma. And that's when I hear automatically, a plane hit the building, a plane hit the building. There was a security guard standing right next to me, and his radio was going, there's a plane hit the building, a plane hit the building. So now, I'm at the base of the building. When I turn around, you know when you're in the base of the building, and you look up, you don't see the top? That's exactly what happened. But I saw the hole, I saw the fire, I saw the smoke, and all of a sudden, I realized that I couldn't see the antenna of the top of the building. And what came to my mind right away was, oh my God, the people from Windows of the World, the restaurant that was on the top of the floors of that building, 106th floor. I had breakfast with those people every morning. I started cleaning the stairwells from the top down. So they have an employee's kitchen, and I will go there and talk with these people all the time. Mind you that the 76 people that died there, I knew them all. So all of a sudden, when I see that, I start screaming, we got to go back, we got to go back. Nobody wanted to go back. The supervisor, Anthony Saltalamacchia, said, no, Rodriguez, you stay here. A guy 3 times my size, weightlifter, and he's telling me, hey, just stay here. I say, no, we got to go back in. We got to help those people. He said, no, you stay here now. I took the radio from the security guard, and I ran inside the building through the basement, all the way again to the North Tower. There was water all over because a sprinkler system, again, why would the sprinkler system get activated on the basement when the plane hit on the top? Think about it. Does that make sense? No. I find water all over. I ran straight to the South Tower, where they had the OCC, the Operation Control Center, that was created after 1993. They spent $155 million to retrofit the building and to supposedly straighten it out after the bombing and to set up a whole security system. And that was actually the control center. You know what? When I got there, I started hitting the window. There was nobody there. There was nobody there. The control center, where they have all the cameras, all the recordings. I found one guy called Jimmy Barrett. He was on the other building. He didn't know what was happening. And screaming, you got to get out, you got to get out. That gives you an idea. He was on the basement on the South Tower. That gives you an idea how many people died on the other tower without ever knowing what happened on the basement. He just happened to come up from the basement. And then I found a lady that worked for the Marriott Hotel, staying in a podium like this, on an entrance for the employees for the Marriott. She heard the whole thing. But she said, what are you doing here? Get out now. And you know what she said? I can't. I'm a new employee. I don't want to get fired. Just the ignorance. Because she didn't know. So I pushed her out. Ran to the other tower. On the North Tower, again, there's water all over. I found one guy that worked for the recycling company. And he said, I hear screams. The World Trade Center had 150 elevators in the complex. I put my ear on one of the elevators, and I heard 2 people stuck in the elevator screaming for help, saying, we're drowning. We're going to drown. That didn't make sense either. I'm like, I'm trying to understand what's going on. He said, what? And it was all the water from the sprinkler system was going down the elevator shaft, and they got encapsulated because the elevator went down between the B2 and the B3 level, and they have all the water up to here. So at that moment, and let me tell you, I was never a believer. I was agnostic. I didn't believe in anything. And at that moment, I said, God, please help me. And I looked around, and I found a metal pipe in an area that was supposed to be clean of construction debris. and I took that pipe, put it on the wall, on the doors of the elevator, and with the help of Barrett, we opened the doors. The doors opened this way because it was a freight elevator. When the bottom door hit the floor, all the water that was on my side went rushing in with more power. And the screaming was worst. And when I looked down, it was too deep. And I said again, God, please help me. And all of a sudden, I remember that in the area where they have the trash compactors for the building, the electricians, they always have the ladders that they use to change light bulbs and do the wiring. They always had them tied up with chains on the loading dock area. And they tied them up because you could go there with the truck and steal them. And I said, let me find one. Let me find just one. And as I got there, ladies and gentlemen, the only one that was not tied up was the longest one of all of them. So that was a miracle by itself. That was there to be used. I took that ladder, put it on my back, went inside, went on the elevator shaft, dropped that, went in, opened the grid, got these two people out. One of them, Salvatore Giambanco, a painter for the Port Authority, which I did not know either, and a delivery guy. And he's telling me that there was a huge explosion in the basement. There was fire, and they tried to cover themselves from the fire. They went into the elevator, and the door closed, and they started going down the elevator, and they lost power. That's his actual words. Got them outside the building, put them in an ambulance, and went back into the building. And everybody, oh, don't go back in. Why are you crazy? I say, no entiendo, no entiendo. No entiendo, no entiendo. But I prayed in English. And he said, ay, Dios mío. So I get back into the basement, and I found one person, police officer David Lim. Now, he was the person in charge of the K-9 unit and in charge of all the rescue efforts for the Port Authority. And he said, Willie, do you have the key? I said, yes. He meant, did I have the master key? There were only 5 master keys in the whole complex. The Port Authority had the other 4. They were trained on egress, escape, first aid, rescue. They were the first one to run out. This is the master key, ladies and gentlemen. We call this the key of hope because it gave hope to a lot of people. I said, let's go. We get to the base, from the basement to the lobby. And when we get to the lobby, the firemen are there, waiting with something called the fire access key. It's a key that they put on any elevator. And if the elevator is on the basement, they will go up. If it's on the top, it will go down to pick them up. I said, what are you waiting? There's no elevator. Follow me. I know the best way to go up. We started going through the staircases. Now, it was so hard for those poor people because they have so much equipment in their bags. We're talking about 70 to 125 pounds of equipment in their bags. And as we go up, they started bumping against us, the people coming down. Because the stairwells were not wide enough. Look. Well, it's not, I thought I had the staircases there. But anyway, I'll find the picture later. It was not wide enough. So we start making it up the staircase. And as we go up, we hear small explosions going off. Pa, pa, different areas. And I said to the firemen, what's that? And they said, one of them told me, I think it's the gas tanks from the kitchens. Now, that did not make sense because it was a Class A building. All the kitchens were electrical. All the kitchens were electrical. So that did not make sense. Where are those explosions coming from? Now, again, why is this key so important? Because Class A building, the codification in New York is that any skyscraper, 3 doors will not open on the staircases, 1 will open. 3 won't open, 1 will open. So we have to go and open all those doors that did not open. In 1993, the fire department lost so much time breaking doors, trying to get to the floors. So that's why this key was so important. And it opened the whole thing, the whole complex. And the reason I got this key was because in 1996, I fell down the stairwell, and I didn't get help for several hours. For 3 or 4 hours, they couldn't find me. So I did an arbitration case against the Port Authority, and I sued for the key, and I got the key. And I won. And I guess that's when I got the experience of suing and doing all this. All the lawsuits after just was an upgrade. So as we go up, you know, one thing that people don't talk about is that, and it breaks my heart, is the amount of screams that I heard of people stuck inside the elevators that were not being able to be helped. People screaming for help. You ask me what is the biggest nightmare I have 2, and that's probably the one that I recall almost every day. Every time I go into an elevator, if I go up to my room over here, it's just in my mind, listening to those people screaming for help. And it breaks your heart. It really does. So those people never had a chance. So I continue going up. One person tells me, there's a man in a wheelchair on the 27th floor that needs help. I told the fire department, I went down 2 floors to let them know that, you know, there was somebody on a wheelchair. And the reason I went down, remember, I have no equipment in my back. I have no fireproof jackets. I have nothing. And I did the staircases every day. So I was in that time in a better physical condition than even the firemen. Because that was my routine. That was my job. So when I go down and I tell them, the fireman tells me, we leave the handicapped people always for the last, so they will not impede the rescue effort of the majority of the masses. We get there. When we got to the 27th floor, the whole unit of firemen collapsed on the corridor, one after the other, because they couldn't continue going up. It was physically impossible for them to continue. They took their equipment, they took their jackets, they took their boots, they dropped themselves on the floor. A very shocking moment for me, because I said, oh my God, I feel like I have to go alone now. Remember, David Lim said, Willie, do you know this floor? I said, yeah, I know this floor. He said, where can I get water? He said, on the other side, there's a machine. So let's go. He breaks the machine. We start taking bottled water, putting it on trash cans, and bringing it to the firemen and giving them the bottled water. I remember I called my mother from a phone that was working in that office. Call her. My mother is in Puerto Rico. But I wanted to let her know that there was an accident in case she heard something on the news, that I was okay. When she picked up the phone, she was like, what are you doing there? Everybody in the world knew but us what was happening. She said, get out now. And I said, I can't. I'm helping these people. They don't know the building. But don't worry. And I lied to her. I said, I'm going to get up to a certain part, but I'm not going to get to the area where they have the fire. When my actual intention was to go to windows of the world and help my friends. That was my motivating and